guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a pretty entertaining revenge story that was sent from a subscriber. It's from a guy, it sounds like he's about 43, 44 years old now, my age essentially. And this is about events that happened in 2013 when he met his girlfriend at the time. At the time he was 36 and she was 10 years younger than him, 26. And he got involved with her and everything was going well. And at the beginning of the relationship, he laid out his expectations about their relationship. He was very direct, and this guy obviously is the guy who doesn't take any crap. Unfortunately, he then discovers years later that she didn't exactly abide by the agreement that she made early on. And as you can imagine, definitely was tough to hear, but ultimately he comes up with a very clever, borderline diabolical way to get even with her and the dude that she was cheating with. And wait till you guys see how long they were together and how long the cheating was going on. It's just going to make you shake your head. And at the end of the day, guys, aside from the entertaining element of the revenge story, this is, again, another example of why it's so important for guys to pay attention and look out for red flags, or to simply know that red flags are out there. Because you're going to see here, this girl was a master at covering her tracks. This guy had no idea anything was going on. But anyhow, guys, I'm going to get into it. It's a little bit longer, but you'll enjoy it. It starts off, he says, hello, SSM. First off, I want to say I love the videos that you make and the insightful information that you attempt to share with young men on creating self-value and staying focused on your purpose. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I love what I do, too. It says, this is a story that I share with you that sadly has been shared so many times on your channel, but the end result and how it was handled, I don't think you've heard before. There are similarities to this story that I've heard countless times on this channel, as the viewers as well, but your way of handling it definitely is different. He says, this story starts out around October 2013 when I met my now ex-girlfriend. She was 26 at the time and I was 36. She was on the younger end of my personal comfort zone regarding women, as women too young are either going onto the carousel or have been on it for a while. Well, unfortunately nowadays they're all on the carousel. And it doesn't stop at the 20s. It pretty much goes on forever, if we're being real here. However, after openly dating for about 7 months, I decided I was willing to make it serious by closing the doors on other options and date exclusively. Now, before this, I was going out with other women casually throughout this time, and she knew I was not exclusive to her that whole time. No lying on my part, I was upfront about this from day one. Good. Very smart thing. For you relationship guys, if you just start dating a chick and you like her, you're having a good time, but you're also dating other women, it's a good idea to be upfront that you're dating other women, okay? And the reason for that is that it will save you a whole lot of drama where, let's just say you start dating her and you definitely like her, and you like her body, you like her looks, you like her personality, and you're having a good time, and you're like, oh, I don't want to mention the other girls I'm dating because I don't want to screw this up. Well, she's going to find out. And it's going to bring a whole lot of drama into your life. It's better just to say, let her know when you initially start dating, I'm dating other women. Some gals may not like that, and they may want you to drop them all immediately and date only her. Which, if she does that, say, hey, we just started dating, not interested. If you change your mind, you know how to get in touch with me. Don't go for that. That's a big mistake, because immediately you're being pee-whipped, and she's giving you an ultimatum. I mean, that's madness because you just met her and she expects you to be exclusive with her. No way. But you be upfront about it. I'm dating other women. And that way then, 2 reasons. Number one, it will stop any potential drama coming your way because she now knows it's not a secret. You're not lying. And 2, she knows that she has competition. So if she really likes you, believe me, she'll be on her best behavior to get you. It's in your interest. Just want to mention that. So good move for this guy when he was being honest. He was dating other chicks before they got serious. Just a tip for your relationship, guys. Anyhow, he says, not before this, I was going out with other women casually throughout this time, and she knew I was not exclusive with her that whole time. No lying on my part, I was upfront about this from day one. Whether she was exclusive or not, I didn't know at the time, but we will get back to that later. From the start, I was focused on my career. I own a truck leasing agency that contracts for big contractors who work with FedEx and Amazon. Being a small company, I was able to dedicate a lot of my time to keeping myself healthy and motivated to reach for greater challenges. Awesome, brother. You're a fellow business owner. Good for you. It's great when you're the boss. You call the shots. Sure, obviously you have a lot of responsibilities, but at the end of the day, you're in control of your life. Good for you. It says here, my ex was never involved with my business and would never be involved even if we got married. Good. It's not their business at all. Don't get them involved. Once I decided to become exclusive with her, and she and I went out on a date night where I pretty much laid down my expectations of what I want out of our relationship. I told her I'm 38 years old and I'm now looking for a family. I want it all. Marriage, children, and a wife to come home to. Oh, you poor bastard. For you want this, but I know how things go in this story. I told her that if we were going to become exclusive, she and I both would need to agree to cut all ties to any prior relationships, period. Laying out your terms and expectations before you get serious. Good way to go. You've been dating for like 7 months or so, okay? And this is the point now that you're going through the exclusive thing. Now, but there's one thing here I'm curious about. It doesn't mention here that it sounds like you're the one brought up the whole being exclusive thing. It doesn't sound like she's the one that's been hinting at it or anything like that. So I can't tell if all along she's just been like enjoying seeing you and seeing other dudes, which obviously she was doing. Because it's always a good idea that you want the gal to bring up the whole being exclusive thing, not the other way around. Because someone will just go into it, but they go half-heartedly because they think, oh, I don't want to lose the guy, you know. It should always be them bringing it up. It shouldn't be the guy. And I get that you were in your late 30s and you obviously, for your own reasons, wanted to get serious because you said one day you want to have a wife and kids and all that. Now, again, this is years before, you know, this movement, which God forbid I say on YouTube because they'll censor it, but you know what I'm talking about, started really catching on because, so I get that back then. Now you obviously know different, but it's always better that the girl brings it up because you're going to see here, but you want them chasing after you, chasing the relationship. It always puts you in a better bargaining position because a lot of guys are the ones that bring up getting exclusive, and that puts them in not a very good bargaining position because the guy can see you're more into the relationship than she is, and you never want that to be in that situation. But anyhow, it is what it is. The past is past, and he learned. He says here, I would not tolerate betrayal nor lies, having been lied to and played with in the last serious relationship that I was in. He said, in parentheses, I didn't have your channel back then to glean wisdom from SSM, so I blame that. Ha ha. I told her that if she wanted to be with me and for us to focus, for us to make a go at this, I would be her priority. No other men save her father would come before me. And he said, I did in fact make a point about her father. Since we weren't married, her dad in my mind should be number one. That's reasonable. He says, side note, I had a wonderful relationship with both her parents at this time. They loved me, and her dad made a point on Thanksgiving to have me cut the turkey. Being an old-fashioned values, that was a huge deal for me. That is a huge deal. That is the man of the house's job to slice the turkey on Thanksgiving. So if he had you doing that, he was seeing you as a son. So that's a very high compliment. And that's awesome you're getting along great with her family. Unfortunately, I know how this story ends, and so, well, we'll get to that in a moment. Anyway, after a long talk and a few glasses of wine, she agreed that I was the only man in her life and she wanted to build something with me. Now, was it the alcohol that made her finally agree to this, or you just had a long conversation and you guys were just having drinks? I don't know. Fast forward 2 years to 2015, we have been together for just shy of 2 years exclusively. As I mentioned before, I'm an old value type of man, and when I say I was exclusive, I was. I believe you. It's usually the guys that are the ones that they get into the relationship and they are exclusive. Even though they can have hot chicks coming at them left and right, they're exclusive. They keep their word. Unfortunately, nowadays, thanks to the S-word revolution brought on by the movement that's been going on for decades, you're not an empowered gal unless you have 5 dudes. And so the gals don't necessarily go along with this type of thing. He says, from the moment I made that choice, I never even looked at other women in any way other than strangers at least and friends at most. I still had all my male friends that I made throughout my life from work and school and visited them every 2 weeks for poker night. He says, I love poker. No hard gambling, just a poker game with friends, many hot dogs, and beer. All of my friends are happily married, but also smart enough to keep me honest and have warned me about moving too fast, which I don't. Good. Listen to your married friends. I'm surprised your married friends weren't saying, bro, no, don't do this. Don't let this happen to you. But But that's cool, you hang out with your bros. Never, you focus on your business. You're not getting her involved in your business. You said you work out, and you make sure you get to go with your bros every couple weeks for poker night and all that. Cool, that's the way it should be. And never let the friends go. He goes on and says, she had her friends, of course, and she's been out for girls' nights a few times. And he put some parentheses. I hear you now, SSM. Hey, man, that's a red flag, my bro. And yes, it was the first time, but I have met all her female friends, and all, like my friends, are married, and many of their husbands are friends of mine, so I had the lowdown on everything. So you think. Remember, guys, your girl's friends, I'd take that whole they like me thing with a grain of salt, because, how many stories have I done, and I've seen this in life, where the guy knows the girl's friends and all, they get along well, but yet she's cheating and they all know about it, right? Or let's just say you get along with them well. Let's just say that you actually have a good thing going with your girl, like sincerely. And a majority of her friends are single and they want to be in relationships, but for whatever reasons they don't have it. They can be jealous and envious of her and try to sabotage things. I've seen it happen. I've done stories on this, and I'm sure some of you guys have either experienced it yourself in your own personal lives or know someone that's happened to. So you always pay attention to her friends, but don't take that whole, oh, they love me thing like you're in the clear, everything's safe. It's not. And you're going to see in the story as it goes on that I'm certain somebody had to know what was going to happen, or what was going on, and what you're going to see soon. Anyhow, not to ever say I never question occasional choices. I've set ground rules, and my friends have done the same with their wives. All this sounds almost storybook, I'm sure, but it's downhill from here. But now it's downhill from here. After celebrating our full second year together, she dropped something that comes out of left field. Aha. This was at the time, but later on I found out why I shouldn't have. That she and a friend, and he put friend in quotes, a friend, were planning on going to some concert next week and had plans for staying at a hotel for one night. Oh, really? Who is this friend that she speaks of? Well, this was a huge red flag, as number one, she's never been to a concert before since we were together, and two, all her favorite bands aren't touring at the time due to COVID. Also, since school, since she started, I knew none of my friends' wives would be going, as they all have school-age kids, so yeah, I was initially skeptical. Trust your gut. Your gut told you something was wrong, and you're going to see his gut was right. I asked which one of the girls she was going with and demanded to know the plans. The hotel they would be staying at, name of the band, night they were going to see, the usual questions. She mentioned a name I didn't know, someone from her work, and I instantly said no. I know there are some dweebs and simps out there screaming that I am a controlling ass clown, but they aren't me. I said no, since I didn't know this person and that she's never been to a concert. Why now? That, of course, was the wrong thing to say, as it started a huge argument. Yeah, I'm sure it did, dude. Who are you to tell me who I can and cannot hang out with? You don't own me. You don't control me. You're not my father. Something like that. I shut her down with a final assertion. I'm not controlling your life or choices. You can go if you please, but anything you have at my house will be dropped off at your parents' house, because you and I would be done. You're playing hardball. He says, in parentheses, a backstory here. In the 2 years and 7 months we've been together, we have never had a major fight. Arguments and disagreements, yes, but never fights. Also, like her parents and my own, we talked all the time. And no, we didn't live together. I made it clear that it wasn't an option until I was comfortable with how the relationship was. Smart. So notice, guys, he's been with her for 2 years of exclusive, 7 months dating prior to that, and they ain't living together. This is why when guys jump into moving with their girl, I think they're out of their damn minds. And I've done plenty of videos where I've talked about this and what can happen, what can go wrong, you live with your girl. The only time that's warranted is if absolutely you've been with her for a long time, and I do mean longer than 2 years, and you're serious about getting married. Okay, for whatever reason you're going to get married, okay, then you move in with her as a trial run to really see. You've already seen what she's like prior to it with a lot of situations in life. Now you're going to see what it's like playing house with her, and where essentially you're like a married couple. Then you can see if what she's like at home. Is she going to give you crap about leaving the toilet seat up? Is she going to give you crap about not taking the trash out fast enough? Is she messy? Is she a slob? Is she late to paying the bills? Is she always questioning where you go? Does she all of a sudden look like a slob all the time? All of a sudden, is the sex slow down substantially because, hey, she's got you whenever she wants? These are important things that you then figure out when you move in together. So I advise not doing it unless you're going to get married. Make your own money. Make it that you don't have to rely on anybody to help pay the bills. Anyhow, he goes on. Given all that, I was a little shocked that something so random as this was the cause for a fight. So she flew off the handle over this whole thing. It's been years they'd never had a fight, but now they have. So again, another red flag. We both went to my house for the night to cool off. She does stay at my house on occasion, but it's rarely more than a weekend or so, and when we had plans for bedroom exercises lasting more than a day or so. When she left the next morning, it seemed to me that all things had been fine. Bullshit. It ain't fine, bro. No way. Well, I was wrong. Told you. I noticed something on the floor that looked like a letter. Figuring it fell out of her purse, and I picked it up and looked at it. To my horror, it was from the local family planning facility in my city with her name on it. Well, when I first read this, it immediately sounded to me like something to do with pregnancy. Now we have been together for 2 years, but I'm not ready in this relationship to have kids with this woman, and we use protection, and she's on the pill. So she says, how many times have I told you guys, do not go for that I'm on the pill BS. Wear protection. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care how good it feels without the protection. Wear protection. And by the way, I'm going to be doing another story next, which I'll be sharing later today, that deals with a guy who made the mistake of not wearing protection. And, well, you'll see what happens to him in the next story later today. Anyhow, I also have a clinic nearby my house for access to morning after pills. I know you shouldn't look through other people's mail, but I'm sorry this concerned me as well. Please note that she and I were both in good shape. I run every morning for an hour and do strength training with a personal trainer friend of mine once a week. She runs with me and she does yoga as an instructor. But after looking at this letter, I had an insane epiphany that she's been gaining weight and also complaining of back and pelvic pain. I opened the letter and again was horrified to see what I found. The letter was regarding her pregnancy. Oh shit. What I tell you about the protection, but then again, you're going to see what's really going on here. And yeah, she's been gaining weight, and he said here something about 4 months. Apparently, she was almost 4 months along, and it also stated the date in which the conception was predicted. Now, I know these sorts of things aren't completely accurate, but the date shown, I know I was betrayed. On the date shown as likely conception dates, I was on the West Coast brokering a deal to purchase more trucks for my company. I was there for 2 weeks, making it impossible for me to be the father. I would love to say, SSM, that I was calm and cool, man, and took charge, making plans and changes to facilitate my exit from this relationship. Sadly, I wasn't. Dude, if you flew off the handle and got pissed off, it's understandable for multiple reasons here. We're all human here. But then, after you freak out, say a lot of bad language, maybe kick the trash can across the kitchen or whatever, and then you calm down and figure out a plan. I grew complacent and began to get too comfortable and never noticed. It's usually how it goes. It's very slow over time that we can get complacent and not notice things. After having lost my shit for about an hour, I got dressed and began my mission. I won't bother you with too many details, but after around 2 weeks of searching through emails and discreetly asking questions, I found out she was cheating on me with that friend from work. That so happened to not be a woman, but a 29-year-old guy from her work. This relationship was apparently going on for over 2 years, meaning basically from the start of her exclusiveness till now, and so began the exit. Oh my God. So for 2 years, she's been secretly seeing this dude, and you had no idea. I mean, you want to talk about an evil master of covering up her tracks. That sucks, bro. I'm really sorry to hear that. What a B-I-T-C-A. I actually know the C word is warranted here, I think. 2 years, and you're close with their family, and they really like you, and obviously they have no idea. And by the way, those friends you mentioned, I guarantee you one of those friends has to know. Every girls can't keep secrets. This is what I've learned. And they always had that one friend, no matter what, they have to tell about their dirty deeds. So I guarantee you some girl knows about it. It may not be a part of the group of people that you've known, but some girl out there knows or knew what was going on. That sucks, man. 2 years. And yeah, that friend she wanted to go to the concert with, there you go. This is what, see, your gut was right. Your gut, you knew something was up, and that's why you were against the whole thing. It's good that situation, in a way, looking back, it's good this situation came up with her wanting to go to the concert. You knew something was off. You laid down the law, and it led to this because at least you found out. What if you married her and she kept hooking up with that dude? And, I got to wonder, there's a part of me, there's no way in my mind that dude didn't know that she was with you. But then again, she hid it from you for 2 years. This goes to show how much guys got to pay attention to the red flags and pay attention. But obviously she was a master. And by the way, I need to bring up something else. Again, this brings back my question. Was she pushing for an exclusive relationship? Or was it that you brought it up completely? Because it sounded like you brought it completely. And if she wasn't ready to give up her lover, she's probably figured hey, I'll just keep them both. This is why it's so important to have the gals bring up being exclusive. Because some will just go along with it anyway. And sadly, some won't leave behind their lovers. Anyhow, now we're getting to the good part. He says, I packed up what little personal belongings she had at my house, and I put them in storage for the moment. He says, I also own a storage facility in my town. I found the guy's name on the company panel in her office, and the poor sap works IT. Well, I took a hunch and searched his name on some local job boards, and what do you know? I found his resume on it looking for a position in IT or communications. I so happened to need someone to head up IT in my office, and so I set my plan in motion. I called him to introduce myself as the owner of the company who was interested in him for a position. Ironically, he did have an impressive resume, so I scheduled him for an interview. So this is where I have another question. If this guy was boning your girl for 2 years, you would think that he would know who you are, so the second you reached out to him, he would not take your calls, let alone meet up with you for an interview. So this only tells me he didn't know who you were. That she was lying to him as well. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me if he actually agreed to meet you for a job interview. But okay. I also happened to schedule lunch with my sweet innocent girlfriend that same day and time. Fast forward to the day's events. The time of the interview was now, and my soon-to-be ex was already waiting for me in my office with lunch. SSM, the look of sheer terror on her face was priceless. Rather, she knew at that moment that I honestly don't know. But we sat down. I held the interview with both my girlfriend and this guy together in the room while eating lunch. Holy crap. Imagine being a fly on the wall in that whole discussion there. The fact that she stayed, the fact that, again, this goes back to he obviously couldn't have known. That's the only thing I can think of, because why would he agree to this otherwise? After the interview ended and he left, I turned to her and said, "Thank you for the lunch, hon. It was wonderful. Also, I know everything. Your things are in storage unit and to never call me again and that we are finished." Ha. I ended it with, "Don't worry though, he'll be able to support you because I'm hiring him." Fast forward to 2022, this guy has been working for me ever since. Holy crap. Well, this could have been handled two ways. Either you pretty much made a fool of him during the interview and then kicked his ass to the curb, or you hired him and now you are in control of his fate. Definitely interesting. Definitely diabolical, getting him to come in there and all that. But again, I just don't see how he could possibly know, unless who the hell knows. But now you're the master of his fate. You pay his salary. You would think that he would have gotten out of it. You would think that she would have told him at that point. But obviously now he has a baby on the way and he's got to get money somehow. Who the hell knows? I'm sure he knows by now that I was his chick's boyfriend, but it's never come up. I pay him a fair enough wage, and he's never left yet. Since sadly she sadly has to live with a guy that now works for her ex-boyfriend, making a third the money, and is about 55 pounds overweight. But I ended up with all the bonuses. I got rid of a woman that betrayed me, I kept my self-respect, and I hired one of the best IT guys that I know. Well, there you go. Okay, if you're happy, I'm happy. Maybe it's best, maybe you guys can work together now and have him kick her ass to the curb. There's an idea, because still, I gotta know, and this guy can email me and let me know, did this guy know? Did he know about you? That's the only thing that makes sense. I know I can come back to this, guys, but what do you think? Email, let me know in the comments section, because that's the one thing here that puzzles me. This guy couldn't have known. But I do, since this guy who wrote the email didn't know either for 2 years, then maybe it's possible this dude didn't know. He says here, one last note. Guys like SSM says all the time, stay focused on your purpose. Never sacrifice that for anyone. I may not have a huge amount of wealth by today's standards, but I'm healthy. I have a lifestyle to make to my liking while living within my means, and I never drop my focus. Stay safe and build your own worth. No woman can give you worth, you make it on your own. Thanks for reading it, and if you share this story in one of your videos, let me know. I want to see the reactions. LOL. Cheers. Well, bro, I will email you letting you know, and you will most certainly see reactions in this story. And everybody's going to be asking, did this guy know? But anyhow, good for you. That sucked that happened, but, you know, by her wanting to go on that whole go to a concert thing and stay in the hotel room with that dude, if that didn't happen, you could have married her. And then she'd own a piece of your company potentially, and it could have been way worse. And, you know, so that sucks that happened. But guys, real example, pay attention to the red flags. Make sure that she's the one that brings up being exclusive in a relationship, not you, because that doesn't always work out well for the guy. It doesn't mean if you ask your girl to get serious or where do we stand, all that, it's going to end up like this, but it's always in the guy's best interest to have her bringing it up and chasing after him. You always want her chasing after you, chasing after a relationship, not the other way around. But that's definitely diabolical, getting him in there for that whole interview thing, and ha, honey, yeah, you're toast, get out of here, and you have her lover working for you, and you control his fate, you know. That's definitely entertaining. But, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, if you have a great story you'd like to share with me, whether it happened last week or it happened 10 years ago or whatever, email me. Just make sure you write out well. Make it easy for me to read and understand. I don't care if it is 10 pages long. If it's a good story, it'll definitely work here. And also, guys, I mentioned before in other videos, if you're on Instagram or locals, definitely look me up, Strong Successful Male, and follow me. I'm making a push towards social media and locals this year to expand things and do things off the YouTube that I obviously can't talk about or do. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.